feel so mystical, think what you like. You could be the sword, the shield, defender of the people down below. You know I fall for love. You know I fall for love. You know I fall for love. Be kind to those around you, don't be merciless. Remember me, for my name is Perseus. 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 I don't want the throne that my father has, fighting wicked beasts while they move so fast. You could be the sword, the shield, defender of the people down below. You know I fall for love. You know I fall for love. You know I fall for love. To have your friends beside you like my Pegasus. Remember me, for my name is Perseus. My name is Perseus. My name is Perseus. My name is Perseus. Perseus. My name is Perseus.
What's up, gamers? It's a Concealed Gamer bringing you guys one of the most broken last stand builds that anyone can run in this game at the moment. This build here was able to provide me with the highest score I've ever made of 185,000 in last stand. Some of you guys may be thinking that is impossible, but I actually released a video of the gameplay on which I achieved that score. Also, it has provided my good friend Gourmet J, who has been able to reach 220,000 score using this build. This notorious build is called the DARKSIDE, and it has been hidden from the public because of the fear of what it can do to last stand and possibly break it. So let's get into it. Now, this is the version, the high-end MC build for the DARKSIDE. You could run an Alpha Bridge build version of the DARKSIDE, but I think the best build to run would be the high-end because of that MC gloves extra damage. Now, you're going to want to run assault rifles because of that enemy armor damage. The whole trick to this build is to be able to breach the player's maximum armor mitigation of 35% in last stand. So The logic to this build is if you have over 35% enemy armor damage, you're going to breach their armor and hit even harder with the build. So as we take a look, you're going to want as raw damage talents on your weapon as possible. So I have responsive, deadly, and unforgiving. You could also run responsive, deadly, and competent. It depends on the rolls that you get. But this would be the god roll for this build, in my opinion. And for the talents, or for the attachments, you're going to want raw damage for all of them. Crit damage, crit chance, headshot damage for the scope. For the magazine, you're going to want crit damage. As you can see, this magazine isn't the largest. But again, everything in Last Stand is maximized. So it doesn't matter if it's a horrible rolled piece of gear. And then for the grip, I have crit damage, stability, reload speed. And then for the muzzle, crit damage, headshot, and crit chance. So again, everything is maxed out. It doesn't matter what the roll is. You just want the appropriate attribute on it. And then, so the assault rifle right there, it's going to have 23% enemy armor damage. And as you can see, I'm going to add up more enemy armor damage. So just pay attention to the rest of the build. For the chest piece, this is a must-have. You're going to have to run a vigorous because you're going to need a person with a really strong tactical pulse and a really strong defib to keep you alive. And for them, in order to keep you alive, you're going to need that vigorous so they can keep you at overheal all the time. And for every gear piece, you're going to want to run firearms on it. And you're going to want to run health, skill haste, and ammo capacity. And for the mods, I have firearms with skill haste. And then you're going to want one stamina mod if you don't have responsive on the third spot. So as I have responsive on the first spot, I only have all firearms on my build. So I'm going to need a mod to get me above that requirement of 2,874 so I could get responsive unlocked. So yeah, just make sure you have one stamina mod on in case you don't have that responsive in the third spot. Looking at the mask, I'm running refresh so you can get the biggest possible heals if you're about to die from that person that is healing you. Again, rolled on firearms, you're going to want that that skill haste firearms mod. And then this is where you're going to need to have enemy armor damage on your mask in order to breach that armor mitigation of 35%. That is very crucial to have enemy armor damage here. And then for your knee pads, it'd be good if you had short bows. If you don't, any other knee pad with this roll can be useful. So again, firearms. The firearms mod is skill haste and first aid self heal prototype performance mod. And then major attribute, you're going to want crit damage. So again, you're going to want anywhere on this build where you can have that extra damage, you're going to want it so you can hit as hard as possible. And then the minor attributes is up to you. And then for the specialized backpack, you're going to want firearms. Again, major attribute crit damage. Again, you're going to want to stack all that damage. And it doesn't matter what the roll is, it's going to be maxed out in Last Stand. Firearms mod with skill haste, first aid, self heal for both prototypes. And then for the gloves, this can be a bit tricky, but you're going to need it to be pretty spot on. You're going to want MC gloves with firearms. As you can see, I have a horrible roll, but it doesn't matter in Last Stand because it's maxed out. And then you're going to have assault rifle damage, crit damage, and then enemy armor damage again. Now, if you add this 8% enemy armor damage, you add the enemy armor damage on your mask, and then the enemy armor damage on your assault rifle damage, you will clearly be able to breach that armor mitigation of 35% because everything will be maxed, so you'll have all the high enemy armor damage rolls on your gear. And that's going to be able to allow you to hit so much harder. So yeah, this is a major part of the build right here, having a really good Skull MC gloves build. You're going to have, because that 16% extra damage is crazy in Last Stand, so it's going to help you out that much more. And then for the holster, you could have any other holster you want, but to maximize your damage with this build is the Colonel Bliss's holster with reload speed on the major attribute, because you're going to want to be reloading as fast as possible. And before you fight people and you see some NPCs, you can build up your stacks with your pistol, or if you take someone down while they're on the floor, you can build up your stacks that way, so you could have the maximum amount of output with this build. Now, as you can see, your toughness is really low, so you're going to be really dependent on a person that has a really strong tactical pulse and a really strong defib. If you're trying to break a really high score, I would recommend having one or more people that would be dedicated to healing you and keeping you alive. And it's just shits and giggles basically to break that high score and see how people react. I got so many hate mail and messages accusing me of cheating from hitting 90,000 plus scores on Last Stand repeatedly. So for the abilities, you're gonna want to run a booster shot with an immunizer. Booster shots mainly just for that extra damage, and then immunizers to get you that extra chunk of health when you need it before fighting someone. And for this build, I will put up a screenshot of what a tactical pulse that your teammates should be running. You're going to want to run really high crit damage on it and a really strong defib to keep that constant heal on you, which will keep you alive really long. And then a survivor link to when you're attacking multiple people, you can pop that so you can be really invincible with that heal on you and that damage pulse and just destroy. And then for talents, triage to help you and your teammates get your skills faster, combat medic to keep your allies alive, the people that are healing you, strike back to get your skills faster, and on the move to mitigate all that extra damage after killing a person to keep you alive that much longer. So yeah guys, this is pretty much the DARKSIDE build. This build is crazy strong in Last Stand. This is the go-to build if you have someone with you. I will warn you that if someone's running a concealed, it's going to prevent you from hitting that much harder with that maxed out pulse that your teammate has, so you're going to want to be aware of someone running concealed. And again, this build has been hidden from the public because of what it can do in Last Stand. The people just are afraid of what this thing can do if multiple people run it, so it's gonna break Last Stand in my opinion if everyone runs it. But again, pay attention to people that are running concealed because it can mess up this whole operation of breaking that high score, because that pulse is really helpful in this build. So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to smack that like button, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, and thank you to all my supporters out there. You guys are awesome. Just keep on chugging on, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.